coordinating all of this. Appreciate it. We're glad to be a part of it. So thank you for doing all of this. Another big thank you to you drivers for putting up with that god-awful heat in August, those few days. Really appreciate your commitment and being here to drive the students. Accidents, 0. Important dates, October is out. I believe it went out in email, but if you need one, let us know. I'm only going to talk as long as I can because I keep coughing. You can hand over the list to you so they don't have to listen to me. All right. Okay, in case you guys didn't notice, it was a little hectic getting started here because we had a visit this morning. Does anyone know who that was here? Dave?
IDOT. Check the buses.
Yeah, state of Illinois is here. And they do this every year. They may do it a couple times a year. So if you have more than half a can of garbage, if you have stuff on your dashboard, if you have things on the walls of your bus, we're going to get docked. And so that's why we preach this over and over and over again. These are the rules. And I know it's fun to decorate buses, or sometimes you're in a hurry and you don't have to do the garbage, but that leaves us scrambling. And we have to go. They just got here, so hopefully it goes well.
They have a problem with the names up on the windows?
It depends on the inspector. Yeah. But I know we've allowed that one, so I'm not gonna be upset. Because during COVID, it was just too difficult to get those kids in.
Even if your bus is sitting in the garage parked, you cannot have anything on the dash.
Correct. Correct.
Excuse me a minute, please.
I know, seriously, no, I've got magnets, like decorative magnets up.
Well, the mechanics are now going through every single bus, and so if you find a pile,
Okay, all right.
that's why. But that is why it's so important to pay attention to that, because they do now. They're racing around trying to make sure, that they don't down any of our buses, and they can. If you don't write something up, if they find something mechanically wrong with it, they will down the bus. So you have to be, vigilant about either writing it up, putting on your free trip if it's a safety issue, or a request for something to be fixed. All right, homecoming parade is this Friday. What does that mean? They shut down the road, right? So we've tried this both ways in the past of whether to bring people in early or not. And it doesn't seem to make much of a difference.
Is it like at 2 o'clock?
They shut down the road at 2 o'clock, sorry. And they will shut it down, excuse me, from 9th Street all the way down to 3rd. All right. They will reroute down 9th to James to 3rd, but it's just going to be a mess. So I wouldn't count on that at all. Typically, what we do is bring Williamsburg in early, but even that didn't seem to help because it's already backed up, and we're not coming and trying to get near the high school like we used to be. Harrison, we can route around. We can use Prairie and St. Charles or Fabian. And then we would have the high school buses come in early. but you would have to be here like an hour and a half early. And then you can't get in there because they're lining up the floats. So I think this year we're gonna leave it as it is. You know, we tried everything we can think of, and it doesn't matter, cause it's just, everything's so backed up that we'll just work around it.
Let's just have a half a day.
Wouldn't that be nice? No, it isn't. I mean, it goes from Anderson down to Third. It really doesn't take that long. Any questions on
All
that?
high school routes are running then?
High school routes are running, but there's typically hardly any students for the buses. We still have to go because there could be some. But that's typically how we catch back up, is because no high school kids are riding.
Can our special needs go out the back door?
Can special needs get loaded in the back? I'll check. Are you talking center or Logan?
Logan, I was
Center
thinking
one.
Logan. Either one would it be?
They'll have, so the diagonal is just gonna be full. So maybe Logan? We'll see. Then let them out early, I don't know.
Is this Friday?
This Friday. This Friday, yep. Goodness, sorry. All right, next fun thing to talk about. I met with the city on Friday because they're gonna start tearing up Williamsburg.
No.
Yep. So what we agreed upon was the bus, where the buses go in, they're gonna tear up half the driveway and go to Randall so that you can still get in and out without having to do like a 5-inch drop because they're tearing so much of that road out. And then when they complete that, and at least get some filler in there so it's not such a rough surface to drive on, they'll do the opposite. They'll tear up from here halfway to 38. So that means when they're tearing up from half the driveway west to Randall, the buses, Williamsburg buses, will need to come in off of 38. And we know there's buses that still have to go down there. The middle school bus has to pick up in there.
Go that
A
way.
high school bus has to pick up in there. We're just trying to minimize how many buses are going through there. And we're also going to put a communication out to the parents. We'll try to do the same thing. So there's gonna be a lot of traffic over there trying to get in from one direction. Heads up. Last I heard it was starting Wednesday, but with the rain, I have an email into him just to make sure that it's still starting Wednesday.
They're tearing the whole road up, Williamsburg?
Mhm. Yes, and when they do from the school west to Randall, they're also tearing up Wakefield. Yeah.
I can't come to work.
You gotta walk.
Yeah.
We need a shuttle.
Pick you up on the corner.
So does that make sense? What they're saying is they're gonna leave half the driveway open for the buses.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to be patient. You're gonna have buses trying to get in and out on that same half of the driveway.
Avoid
Plus
that like
all the
plague.
traffic coming from one direction.
Are they gonna do the other side of Bitler?
The other side of what?
Bridger, I mean, cause from there to, that's the gas station, the Shell gas station on the corner. They did that west side, are they gonna do the east side of Bridger?
Of Williamsburg?
No, Bridger, are they gonna do the east side of Bridger?
I would have to look at the map,
Okay,
yes. But they will do the other side of Williamsburg, so that we always have a way in and out. And then, the complete resurfacing of it, they said it's like, it would really help if we didn't have buses going over as soon as it gets that final resurface laid down, because it's gonna leave ruts. And so, I asked them if they could do it the 5th and 6th of October, because we have that Thursday and Friday off. So they're looking at it, they think they can do that. So that'll help us a lot and help them, and help that road a lot. Won't have ruts right off the bat. Any questions on any of that? No, all right, and we will keep you, updated as far as where they're at with the project. All right, check your emails. I'm sure you guys noticed at the beginning of the year that Kelly was calling out like 6, 7, 8 middays. And we just can't tie up the radio for that long. I know it's temporary until these students get their work sites. But even 4 or 5, if someone's had an accident and they can't get through because we're saying all this over the radio, and then we have drivers coming back saying, put me on the list. So she has started sending it out in email the night before and giving you till the next morning to let us know. And we will make an announcement. Check your email if we need to. But I think by now we've had email long enough that everyone knows the drill. Right? And then just check your emails if you're interested in extra work, because that's the way the middays will go out, and if there's a lot of leftover field trips, instead of calling them all out. If we have one last minute, well, still, it's not that we won't ever announce it. It's just not gonna be a daily thing that we do. Any questions on that? Just a reminder, if you haven't done so already, I think Kelly said everyone turn theirs in, your elementary seating charts, they must be done, and the students must be in their correct seats. Another reminder, you have to do a radio check every day. It is law that you have to do that. When you get in at the middle schools, that it can be, 23 checking in. That's your radio check, and we'll respond and we'll mark you off at the same time. Just know that if that's the way you're going to do it, it needs to be at or before your check-in time. It can't be when you're leaving, because now we don't know you're there. And we're scrambling, like, oh my gosh, do we need to cover that route? So just make sure it's done at or before your check-in time. And then here, it can be a simple 10-8. It can be, 73 checking in. But we do need to see you. So it's your radio check, but we still need to see you when you check in, when you're here at the garage, right? The reason for that is we can't sit there and watch Skyward all morning and to see if people are checked in or not. So we have to physically see you so we can mark you off. You should always, even if you've done a radio check, announce that you're backing, so that people know if they're coming up, they know to watch that somebody's backing out. Those of you that are coming up, the bus backing out has the right of way, because they can't see anyone coming. So if you know someone's backing out, slow down, they just announce it, let them back out, or at least let them know you're coming. Do not pull your bus up here, anywhere up here. So the situation we have now, we have 4 buses in bays 3 and 4. There's no way to line them up correctly for AM, midday, and PM, so that we never have to move a bus out and put it somewhere else. It just can't be done. So when you pull your bus out of the bay and pull up here, just to run in or whatever, now they don't have a place to put that bus that's in their way. Just leave your bus where it is. If you have a parking spot, if you have a bay, just leave it there, so that there's more room up here for them to navigate. Any questions on that? No? All right, one more thing is, we talked about strobes in the beginning of the year in August at our in-service. And I said, I will never fault somebody for being too visible. But now we've gone the other way. And now we have strobes on 24/7. And we've had the mechanics turn them off, and they're still back on the next day. So it's purposely being done. They're not to be run every day. It's inclement weather, right? Even this morning, it was drizzle. Not that big of a deal, not foggy at all. I still would not fault someone for not knowing and saying, I don't know, it's a little bit bad out there, I'm gonna turn my strobe on. But when it's 70 and sunny, there's no reason to have your strobe on. Make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions on that? Yes.
Do you want the strobe on at night?
No. It's inclement weather.
Well, in Wisconsin, if you're in Wisconsin, it's
Right.
nice to have that strobe.
It's a law.
Yep.
So when you go to Camp Timberley, you turn it on.
If you're in Wisconsin, yes. That's the law there. It's not the law here. The law here says you have to have students on that bus, and it has to be inclement weather. Any questions on that? All right, last I heard, we still have buses who are going into park before 8:25 at the middle school. I'm not gonna waste any more time on this. I can pull a video and find out whether you're doing it or not. And you'll just be written up until it stops. I don't have the time for this. Matt doesn't have the time for this. You know what the rules are. You don't drop before 8:20, you don't park before 8:25. Does anyone not understand that? So it ends today, correct? Oh, what else? I think we're down to shop. You wanna do shop? Before you start comping again? We are, one last thing, I just wanna say very quickly, working on new, evaluation forms, just because ours seemed very, I don't know, just didn't have a whole lot of the stuff on them that you guys actually do. And so like your pre-trip, your communication, your professionalism, it's gonna be all inclusive now, and, we'll send a copy of it out, when we're done with it. Those of you who, are grandfathered and you didn't have to do under the hood, I know we have a lot of you, so we've not included that in the pre-trip. But what we're thinking is, in order to do all of this, because we have to hop from bus to bus just to get them done, that maybe we'll do ride-alongs in the fall and then pre-trips in the spring. We'll just have randomly turn a pre-trip. If you have other suggestions, let us know. That's where we're at right now. Are you gonna, I need to disconnect.
Are we gonna do busing backs earlier in the year, or are we gonna wait till the end of the year?
So what we're going to do is, I don't know how many of you have checked out, but Geneva has a hub site now. You know, so transportation is supposed to have their own hub. We're working on it. And we have everything put together, so it should be going live soon. But what we're gonna do is start sending out communications like that. I think, is it October? Second week of October is, School Bus Safety Week. And that's typically when we do our evacuations. And then that will go out as a communication, prior to that, just so that everyone knows that that's, School Bus Safety Week. And then we can send out other communications too. I think in the beginning of the year, we sent out some communications, you know, kind of like we're back, to watch out, you know, for the buses. So, I think that's gonna be very helpful to have that. and send those communications out, because we could do a random, like the, stop arms, you know, and what the rules are, and when you need to stop, when you don't need to stop. Because there seems to be a lot of communication, confusion on that. So we have a lot of things like that planned to going out as a communication that hopefully will help us. Because I feel like it almost gets worse every year with people running the stop arms, you know, reds. So those reminders should help. I'm sorry, did that answer your question? That's typically why we do those in October, because it's School Bus Safety Week. Any other questions?
The CEUs are due in October, by October 1st, the CEUs. What's those things, yeah, the training.
GCN.
Oh, yes, the GCNs, thank you.
Oh,
They are due, it's October 2nd, it's a Friday. They're due. If you don't have yours done, then you have to come in and do them with us. There's 2 days set aside in October. It's the 9th and the 16th. I think they're both Fridays. Where whoever hasn't done theirs, they will have to sit here with us and do them together. So again, we talked about this at the end service. Sit there on your couch and do them, or come in here. Any other questions?
Jackie?
All I was gonna mention is the parking along the curb. Those buses that get used, when you're coming around that curve and there's those posts, sometimes people park down by that curve and far out from the curb. You need to go up a little further and closer to the curb.
If you're parking a bus on the curb, down towards the end by that curve, there is a cutout where there's a power line or a power box and stuff and a pine tree. You need to be in front of that or you are in somebody's way pulling around that corner.
That's all I know.
Real quick from the office before I get into the shop stuff, a reminder that it is in your agreement that if you call in and ask one of us to clock you in, unless you are talking to us, you get docked 10 minutes. Brandy has had a lot of people calling her, asking them to have her clock them in. Remember, we have to see you when you guys check in, especially here, because primarily it's people here that are asking her to clock in because they're saying, I can't clock in on my phone in the bays. Well, we're supposed to see you. So if you're up here and your phone's not working, you can use the time clock. So there shouldn't really be any need, unless you're talking to one of us, that you need to be clocked in.
Can we still call to clock out sometimes? Are we penalized for that?
Not for clocking out, it's the clocking in, because if we can't physically see you, we don't even know you were here on time. You may have just rolled into the lot and asked us to clock you in.
Yeah.
We don't know. All right, from the shop, pre-trip books. Please remember to leave your pre-trip books out. They have gone hunting for them and they're getting tired of it. I know, we put them in our glove boxes and we forget about them after the route, but please try to remember to put them out. Additionally, we've been burning through the ones on the desk very quickly. You should only have the past month, the past filled out book, and a new book. So 2 books on your bus. If people are hoarding them for some reason, please stop. We've burned through well more than a month's worth of books already, so I'm not sure where they're going. Make sure you guys are, if you're parking outside, closing your windows and locking your back door. There have been people at the middle schools leaving them down, the windows down. I know like on this past Friday, it was warm out, windows were probably down, but then Sunday night, we're getting rain. And if you forget to put them up, now your bus is wet in the morning. Please remember to do that because Mary also does not want an email from security because they do occasionally check the doors and windows saying that we didn't lock up our buses. And nobody wants their bus to be the victim from a couple of years ago that got all the fire extinguishers blown out in it because yours was the easy access.
Or a homeless person sleeping in your bus.
Well, we found that before. Well, not a homeless person. We found beer cans in the bus before.
They were coming through the roof hatch, though. I didn't.
For the fire extinguisher one they did, and there was
Yes, I
nothing we
didn't
could
know
do
you
with
could
that.
open that from the outside.
Yep, there is a little knob on the top of it. It's not easy, but you can. But if we're leaving doors and windows open, you're just making it easier. If they're gonna do it, at least make them work for it.
Has anybody ever siphoned fuel out of them?
Not that we've caught, but that would kind of be dependent on the drivers. If you guys fuel your bus and all of a sudden on Monday morning it's at half a tank, we need to know that. Cleaning your buses. Just remember, we have 5-year-old going on 6-year-old buses. They have more problems. The guys do not have time to clean them over the summer like we used to do when we were getting rid of our buses every 2 years and not having to do as much work over the summer. All right, Bill? Over the summer, we had to change the brakes on 42 big buses, almost the whole fleet. They did not have time to go through and blow out the buses and spray them out like they used to. Please clean the buses. I've already heard from plenty of people that they don't believe whoever had their bus last year cleaned the bus by the end of the year. Mary and I have been talking about at the end of the year, on the last day, we will not accept your keys until your bus has been cleaned and visually inspected. And we will do random walkthroughs down the bays, over at the middle school, and check buses. We give you guys that second pre-trip time so that you guys can do that if needed. I've been with people on buses where they're sitting at the school sweeping their buses out, so I know people have time to do it, but it's not getting done.
I guess, do we have stuff to clean like the inside of the windshield over here?
If you guys need something to clean the windshield, let us know, write it up. The mechanics have spray bottles that we took off the buses during COVID to use for the COVID spray, but they used to contain windshield washer solvent for you guys to clean the inside windows. So we do have that if you guys need it.
Do you want the box of COVID spray back over here? It's just sitting there.
If you guys aren't using it anymore, yeah.
I'll bring it over.
We left it there for a while because there were a few people that were still spraying their buses just as a precaution, but I think we're far enough past this that we don't need to do that anymore.
I think our buckets, need fluid. We got buckets, and I think the one out there is just like,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll talk to the mechanics about it. They don't leave them as full as they used to because part of the problem is people are leaving the squeegees in the bucket. There's alcohol in the windshield washer solvent that screws up the rubber and warps it, and then you get the streaks as you're trying to clean your windshield. And for the poles that actually have a wooden handle, that starts to eat away at those. So they've started leaving less in it so that at least the whole thing is not submerged in washer fluid.
well, now everybody knows not to leave it in there.
Yeah, but
Or
if
you start drinking it.
we close it over, then it's in the way. Can't somebody put up like a handle holder, like a broom holder?
For the one out there,
Yeah, because then the wind blows it down.
I haven't walked out the recent, last I knew, the mechanics were keeping it in their bay because somebody kept walking off with it. They lost like 3 of them because people were walking off with the squeegees.
Oh, my God.
I don't know if that was our department I don't know whose department it was, if it was us,
It's probably.
the O&M department, a random person pulling up into our lot, cause people turn around in here all the time. I don't know who did it.
Don't we have
But-
cameras outside?
We do,
I mean, if stuff's missing.
but last I knew, they were keeping the squeegee, but it might be out there. I have not gone out there and looked recently.
The one that's out there is crappy.
It's out there.
Is it out there?
I
Okay,
used it last week and I also filled the bucket.
okay. Let's see. Alright, so I am going to show you guys the camera system. I've had several people that want to see it, see what we can see, all the new features that are on it. So I'm gonna pull one up for you. I picked a bus at random.
Oh man, I hope I'm not wearing.
So- We're not gonna sit there and watch the entire thing and try and critique the driver who is on there. It's not the point of this.
Oh, no.
So this is bus 7. You can see up here in the corner.
Dash
Yeah,
cam.
bus 7, which camera it is, how fast they're going, date and time. The date and time are set by the GPS, same as your phone. So there is no more, is the time even accurate? It is globally set. We cannot adjust it. It is accurate. So you have 4 buses inside, or 4 cameras inside that you can see into each seat all the way down. And as some drivers have seen, I can zoom in. That is because of the lighting. They are night vision and automatically change. The dash cams, because of the rising sun and stuff we deal with all the time, they did not put those as night vision. Those are always color. So as soon as the driver backs out and gets going, it does change color. But it's still dark enough outside that it's still black and white here.
Wow.
It does. Now, when you guys are calling in because somebody blew your stop arm, see if I can find a spot where they're going down the road. So this is the lane where people are passing you. Even if I zoom in, come on.
You can't get.
I can't always read the license plate, so you still gotta try and get as much information as you can.
But that, when that car starts moving ahead of you, can't you catch it then?
Yeah.
Sometimes, it all depends on the
Or if it's
lighting.
coming at you.
It's
over.
raining, all that stuff. There was one that was pulled, and Mary and I both sat there and tried to read the license plate. We
And
could
that
not.
car was coming towards the bus. And it was so blurry. I
Right,
couldn't
that,
make it out.
because it's a motion. So where does it tell you the location of this bus?
So, right here, I have a map. So this S right here is where the
school
bus is. He's currently sitting at Bridger and 38. If I pull up,
It doesn't look like.
I can see the entire route that he's driven. All that green is where that bus went this morning.
So actually, if there's ever, God forbid, a horrible emergency where a gunman gets on the bus and we
Yep.
can't talk, you at least know where
We
we're
will know where you're at. I can pull up
That's
what
good.
bus stops you're at. And I can skip ahead. And it's probably blurry on the screen up there, but up here in the corner it says stop arm is out. It tells me when you guys put on a turn signal, when you hit the brakes, stop arms, the ambers, everything. It does have idling sections, it has speeding.
I said, you don't have to do ride-alongs anymore, you can just pull a video.
We could. It's I still don't think it has the same effect as riding along, but. Now, I will say, we've pulled a couple of videos at request of the principals for different things, and I've found, how many have we pulled, Mary? We've pulled, what, 6 videos, and we found several, so we haven't even pulled that many yet this year. I've found people rolling stop signs. I've found people
Hang on,
speeding.
Pat, oh my goodness, people,
Yes.
stop. You have to come to a complete stop there.
I've got people speeding. I've found people not using their stop arms at bus stops.
Hazards, instead.
Yep, using hazards instead of stop arms.
I would hope,
And I'm not even trying to find this stuff.
I would hope that those would be addressed.
Well, they're addressed with those drivers directly. They are. But the point is we just want to get this out here now, is if you're rolling stop signs, if you're rolling up to them, you don't see traffic, so you're just going through, it needs to stop now, because it's just going to be a write-up. We are in this for the safety of the kids. I don't care if there's no traffic coming. It's still a stop sign.
And even like, if they're not using the reds, and I don't know, typically there isn't a student there, so this driver's out, I'll just turn my hazards on for a little bit, and that's not the way to do it. You have to turn your yellows on. Because when you turn your hazards on, you're indicating to traffic, you're a hazard, go around. And that's the last thing we want people doing.
Pause that. One of the other features, and this goes significantly farther back, by the way. All of those dates in bold have camera video, all the way back to the date that it was installed. This stays on there. They are 1 terabyte hard drives, where we used to have a 64 gigabyte memory card. Yeah.
Can you enlarge one of the 3 on the side so we get a better visual?
For students, show them what's on their cell phone.
No.
Yeah.
You can see in there, and you can zoom in. You can't always see exactly what they're doing on their phones, but you can zoom in and see enough that you know if they're texting or doing whatever.
You can see every single one of them is on their cell phone.
Yep. Every single one of those kids is on their cell phone.
Yeah, they don't talk to each other, it's quiet.
In the high school, you don't have trouble with high school that are just on their phone.
No.
Man, zoom in though, it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, like,
Oh, shoot.
I guess by the emergency exits, there's like a little sign on them. Can you zoom in on that and read it?
On the emergency exit sign?
Like, on the windows, it looks like there's something on the windows. Like by the handle.
That sticker there?
Yeah, like, can you read that?
I can't do it in this one. Hold on. Not quite.
Not really.
There's only so much you can zoom in before you kind of start losing quality of picture. But what I was going to show you next is, Jeannie brought this up a little bit. Sometimes, there it goes. It's a little slow. No, there's nobody running anymore.
All the buses are all.
Everybody's back. I was gonna show you a live view of the buses.
Maybe 20
If
minutes
we
ago.
have an emergency, we can pull in and see a bus video while you guys are live. We had an incident where we had to, because the driver thought that they had dropped off all their kids, and so now we were looking for a student. Student was still on the bus, but the driver didn't know that, which brings me to another point of walking your bus. Mary and I watched a video where the driver did their route, came all the way back here, and then walked their bus. If you get back on the lot with a child on the bus, that is grounds for termination. It is part of your job to do a child check while you are near your where your drop off was, either the bus stop or the school. And if we terminate you for that, the state will pull your permit for 3 years. So you won't be able to go anywhere else. You will be done. But that driver who left the student, or didn't know the student was on the bus, what does that tell you? They didn't walk their bus. Because they didn't even know that their last student was on the bus anymore. The student had fallen asleep and was quiet. Didn't know anybody
We
wasn't on
couldn't
it.
even find them looking at the cameras.
Yeah, the kid was tucked down into the seat.
She was
So
left
that
her phone on the
driver's
bus.
working
They are. It was dealt with on its own. They never made it back here. We got a hold of them and got the situation rectified.
You finally found the child through cameras?
Mhm.
Oh.
That's great.
So you have a copy of our, seating charts too, does that help you for that? Or do you not have this also?
We have a copy of it. We put it in our computer system.
So I'm saying like to find that kid, you would know where to look.
This was a special needs bus.
Oh, oh. Wow.
So it's one of those situations where I've only got a couple of kids. I see them all get off. I know they're not on the bus.
It's a perfect example of why, no matter what, you walk your bus.
Yep. Doesn't matter if you've got 1 kid, 20 kids, you need to walk your bus. Andy?
Can we ask if we're suspecting somebody vaping in the back, can we ask you to take a look at that?
If you request the video, I will pull it so that you can come in and watch it,
Okay,
or we write it up and we send it to the school and they watch it.
okay.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of check video. Like, and that's something you guys should be doing. We pull the video, we get it set up for you, but you should be looking at that video and confirming what you thought was happening, and even giving us a name if you have a name.
But with these new cameras, they have caught 1 kid already on a bus vaping. Because they can see right into the seats, they know exactly where it's coming from. The kids like to tell you it's hairspray or body spray, whatever.
Is the video good for his backseat?
Yeah.
12?
While he's pulling that up, one other thing that, I forgot to mention is, if someone runs your stop arm, you don't have to call in and say you marked it. Okay? There's a form. If you don't know where it is, let us know, we'll show you. You can mark it, and come in and let us know and give us the form. But you don't have to call us over the radio and let us know. They will actually send it back if they got enough information.
So do you pull it and then we can look and see and write it up that way? Cause I have like 6 where I push the button. I hit 3 in one day.
So if you find a spot, that it's happening consistently, you could let us know that, we can ask if there be a police officer sitting out in the area. Yep, yep.
Sometimes a partial helps, doesn't it?
Typically, they'll send it back, not enough information.
So that's the back of the bus right there. You can see into the seats. You can almost see, you can't see the seat bottom in the very back one. But you can see the kids that are sitting in there and what they're doing.
I think that's where the vapor was, right?
Yeah, they were in the back of the bus. They were also on a bus, they weren't They were also on a bus they weren't supposed to be on. Just remember that elementary is, they can only ride if they've got a note, and it has to be that they're getting off, they have to be from your bus to begin with, getting off at a different stop. Middle school has to have a note from the school unless we've told you that, or there's a note on your route that says they're allowed to drive your bus for the divorcee families.
That reminds me. Last Friday, I believe it was, a student tried to get on one of the middle school buses and didn't have a note. The driver said, nope, can't get on. Can we work together, maybe call a teacher over? Because we spent a lot of time looking for that kid. He was supposed to be, mom thought, on this bus because he was going home with a friend, and then he wasn't on his regular bus, so we spent a whole lot of time looking for this kid. So when that happens, if you can call a teacher over to handle the situation, so we're not in the middle of it, we appreciate it.
Any other questions? Yeah.
I thought that, in the initial explanation of that, going through the stop arm, that once you press the button, that you could go back and record like a few seconds before you push the button and after, and that would give you a little bit of time to read that license plate, I would think.
Well, it does. If you push that button, when you come back to base and get on Wi-Fi, it downloads 2 minutes prior to the button and 2 minutes after, roughly a 4 to 5 minute video clip. The problem isn't that we can't see the license plate, it's the clarity to know what the license plate says. Because we can zoom in on it and say, it all depends on the lighting that day, if it's raining. Occasionally we can read what the license plate says, but we can't guarantee we're gonna be able to read what it says. Anything else?
It's just kind of difficult in my mind to, all that's going on when somebody runs your stop arm. I mean, you're mostly focused on the safety of anybody involved, and that's your main focus. Then after that, I suppose if you get the license plate, that's fine, but it's like, it's not the first thing that you, when somebody runs your stop arm. You just wanna make sure that you're not gonna hit anybody. And that's really what you're worried about. And then so by the time you then think, I gotta get the license plate, they're gone.
Right, exactly.
And they have cameras for that, but we're not there yet. They have cameras they put on the side of the bus, and those are the ones that catch the stop arm violations the best.
Next budget.
Yep.
And if you can't write it down, say it out loud for what you see because it's recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't have to write it down. Absolutely correct, say it out loud.
That's very smart. Yeah.
Every now and then I come up with that.
And Rudy, you're correct, I mean, you're always watching the kids.
Well, we have
You know,
that especially.
That's not our first priority.
Especially on buses.
Any other questions on anything at all?
Oh, I have one thing another thing I forgot to mention from the shop. Those of you who are filling up your DEF, and we greatly appreciate it, because again, it's very hectic for the guys with the older buses. Please hang the hose up, don't throw it on the garage floor.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yes, there have been.
It's like
We don't need the hose run over, because then it's gonna start leaking, and then we're gonna have DEF everywhere. There is a hook on the side of the DEF tank for you guys to hang it up on.
Do you need a notification if you wanna come in for DEF, can we just pull in there and do it?
Just give us a heads up that you're coming in for DEF. If you guys are comfortable filling it, we're letting you guys fill it on your own. If you're not, let us know and we'll get one of the guys out there. We just ask that you call in because there are times where people try to pull in and do it, and we've got people trying to back out of bays.
Yeah, if you're trying to come over from the middle school at 2 o'clock and do it, you're gonna have a really hard time, because all the buses here are leaving.
Plus the grounds people are there.
And please pull up parallel to the bays. There's been a few people I've seen that try to swing in real close by 3 and they're on an angle, and now you're blocking the whole drive.
And then we can count.
I know it takes extra time, but just go
It's
down to
so
the
complicated.
end of the lot or go into an empty bay and back in and out.
You really have to go into an empty bay, back out and do it. That's-
Anything else?
All right, well, let's, fingers crossed with our inspection today and,
Yep. And they're back again tomorrow.
yeah.
So none of you walk with Tom?